Hello, everybody. It's Larry, the GM, and we are here. It is Happy Loperfido Day. And, I don't have that article. Okay, I got one more article up. I got three articles up. Hang on. We'll get it up. All right, so we're going to do, like I said, we're going to cover three articles to celebrate Loperfido Day. I won't make it long. You'll get it. You will be available for the game. This will be your series guide to get you ready for the series, ready for the game. And we will also give you as a bonus to celebrate the Loperfido Day. Why am I all of a sudden? I mean, I said his name 100 times on Sunday night. Um, to celebrate Joey Loperfido Day, we are going to give you guys the moneymaker content. And then before we finish out, we will also go and cover the Loperfido Welcome to the Show article, see what we can see there. All right. So since you're here and since you have the opportunity, I've got the chat box open. Before I get into it, please like this video. If you're watching on Twitter, guys, and I know a bunch of you will be, or a bunch of you that are watching will be watching on Twitter, please go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like this video on YouTube. It'll help the algorithm with my YouTube channel. Please, guys, I need the support on YouTube. And then while you're thinking about support for Larry the GM, please go to the Larry GM website. This article, two of the articles you're going to get today are premium and moneymaker content. Normally, only the people that pay the bills have access to it. But number one, this article for the series guys has got a lot of stuff in it. I'm going to get moving really fast here in a minute because we had. I guess I can call it somewhat chaos today with the Astros and the moves they made, and maybe it was all planned, but it sure didn't feel that way. So we're going to cover this article. We're going to cover the moves, and we're gonna celebrate Joey Loperfido before we're all done with. All right. So first, for my money makers, and for you guys that want to jump in as money makers today. Let's get the moneymaker article. Okay, so what is the moneymaker? What am I even talking about? So those that pay $20 a month, either on the website or on the Patreon, they have access to a daily lineup analysis that I do that compares to does the analysis, and I'll show you where we are with the premium data, and then they'll say that's where the moneymaker data gets calculated. So the moneymaker data brings together the premium data and cross-references it and then predicts how every player in that night's game will do against the starting pitcher. And therefore, we then compare that to the Bovada player props and figure out what are the best bets. So that's what we're doing here. And the moneymakers know this because they've seen this every day of the season. So here we got the Cleveland Guardians up against Hunter Brown. Now, the data in here right now, for most everybody, I'll get to a few exceptions in a minute, is 2023 data only. And I've done that specifically, but I will tell you, maybe at the next off day or maybe the series after that, I will consider bringing in 2024 data. But for the Cleveland Guardians, so Hunter Brown's data looks better than it really is so far this year because his xWOB was 385 this year and 319. I think it's coming down, guys. So I'm not even. This is part of the reason I don't want to use 24 data because I think the sample size is too small. But so you can see his data. We're focused on xWOB data and we're focused on pitch distribution. And then you consider this is the xWOB data for each one of the batters. The ones in yellow are switch hitters. And then, of course, versus the righty, they bat as lefties. So we got their data embedded in there. And so what you have is you have the data, Hunter Brown's data versus left-handed hitters here, gets cross-referenced with this data here. We come up with a number, and you see who should do the best. And tonight, for the Cleveland Guardians, that's Jose Ramirez. All right. Now, I've set my target level at around 400. I think Jose Ramirez is good enough at 394. So his Bovada line for 1.5 total bases is over that. For the 395 would be over that, and that's a plus 110 bet on Bovada. Now, since there's a whole bunch of people here that haven't heard this every day, I'll put the disclaimer in, guys. That I'm telling you what could happen. I'm telling you the possible interaction between these two. It's up to you. You take all, you're taking all the responsibility. If you decide to go put a bet on these things, do so legally, and but I'm not claiming responsibility for those bets. All right, I am tracking. I don't have a current number because I don't think I added numbers in yesterday, which are the last game, which was another great game for the moneymaker. So we have Jose Ramirez for the Guardians versus Hunter Brown. All right, look at now. Red is our friend when we're talking about Astros. Red is our friend, and look at all the red. Now, Carlos Carrasco was absolutely terrible from an ex-Woba standpoint, and honestly from an ERA FIP standpoint. So far this year, he's got a 324 BABIP, which indicates he's been a little unlucky. His 504 FIP versus his 463 would indicate he's been a little bit lucky, right? So those we'll say okay, it's close enough to be a wash then. For the ex-Woba folks, he has an ex-Woba significantly better than he had last year. Again, this is going to be last year's data, so we want to be a little careful. Is he really better than last year? I mean, that ERA and that FIP are not very good, guys. So I'm not sure that the ex-Woba just hasn't caught up to where his real performance is. Notice how bad, guys. Notice how bad Carlos Carrasco was against lefties last year. This is a terrible line, right? Well, what do you think that means for our Houston Astros tonight? Well, number one, it means Jordan Alvarez has a 551 expected WOBA. I don't think I've got a 551 all year. Kyle Tucker, 460. The rookie, 383. It should be a good night for Joey Loperfido. Remember, 319 is average. We've got red all over the Astros. We're going to say Yainer Diaz is going to have a good night as well. So those are my three target bets. I'm doubling up for Alvarez. Alvarez over the 1.5 total bases. Alvarez more than 2.5 total hits, runs, and RBIs. Then you see the odds on Bovada for that. 551 is crazy, guys. Tucker, 460 over 1.5 total bases. There you see the odds there. Tucker, 460 over only 1.5. Guys, these numbers were it was over 3.5 when they were in Mexico City. Bovada is giving you Tucker only over 1.5 total hits, runs, and RBIs. If he hits a single and a double, or he gets 2 hits tonight, you've won. If he gets a hit and a run, you've won. If he hits a hit, and an RBI, you've won. Guys, I think Kyle Tucker is going to give us more than 1.5. That's the bet of the day. You only want one thing. That's your one bet of the day. If you can legally make that bet, I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just telling you that's the best one. That's the best one to make. Now it is a minus 150, so you'd have to put 150 down to get 100 back. But that is insane that they're setting the line at 1.5 against Carlos Carrasco. Guys, Carlos Carrasco stinks versus left-handed hitters. Kyle Tucker is going to feast, and Alvarez is going to feast, and we might see Joey Loperfido feast. So there you go. Diaz also another one. They're giving us 1.5 total hits, runs, RBIs there. That's a minus 145. That's a pretty good bet too. Not as good as Tucker because of the lefty righty thing. But there you go. The money makers have some really good bets tonight, guys. Carlos Carrasco is gettable. The Astros would be predicted. The Astros as a team 404 expected WOBA tonight. 319 is average, and the Astros are expected 404. That is like an A plus lineup in the vernacular I used last year. 7.4 runs today. Now watch them, and we're coming home. Let's celebrate Loperfido Day. Let's go on an offensive explosion, and let's just have a great time. All right, there you go. That's the moneymaker day. The moneymakers, do your thing. All right, let's go. Let's go look at the premium data, and then you're going to see some of this stuff back up in there. And guys, if you want to chat, jump onto the YouTube and chat with me. And again, please join the YouTube channel, like the video, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Then also jump over to the website, subscribe to the website, become a premium member. You just saw the value of the money makers, guys. One of those bets pays off, and you've paid for the money makers for 5 months. Come on. Come on. We're going to have days like today. They should pay. All right. So let's go big picture with this series. The Astros and the Guardians. The Guardians are were coming into the season predicted to be the epitome of an average team. Their total WAR rank was 15. Oddly enough, the hitting was expected to be 10th and the pitching was expected to be 18th. That's what this says. Now, we'll get into how it's actually played out. Here's their WAR by positions. You can see the Guardians definitely have some challenges in their lineup, and they had some challenges with their pitching. They have a lot. They had their Bieber is out, right? So overall, the Astros were a 7 WAR projected advantage over the Guardians. Okay, but that's not how it's been so far this year, right? These two teams have mirror opposite records. The Astros 9-19, the Guardians 19-9. I think tonight's the night the Astros get to go hammer on a really good team against Carlos Carrasco. I just showed you why I'm saying that. So here's the data. You can see here where they've been. That the Guardians have been a great pitching team so far this year. We'll get into a little more of that as we go. Guys, the batting lineups. You can see where these two lineups have been. You can see the bottom of their lineup wasn't projected to be all that strong. You can see the Astros adding these players. Now, Loperfido's data in the database at 86, I saw, I think it's in the Loperfido Welcome to the Show article, that's up to 98 projected for the season. So I have to do a manual override to the way the data comes into this table. But you can see where we are for the Astros. And when I wrote this, I wasn't 100% sure who was going to be on the roster when I see to that table in this article. But you can see who we've got. And of course, Abreu, we'll talk about it, but he's no longer on the team. He's in Florida, and we'll talk more about that. All right, so here you see the Guardians top of the lineup, really strong. Jose Ramirez, again, one of the best players in baseball, and so probably the best. Not the best, at least the top 2 or 3. Here you see the link to the Loperfido article. We'll go over it, but take some time to read that, guys. This normally premium article is open for everybody today. Open for everybody for this series to celebrate Loperfido coming up. All right, so then let's get into the chaos of the day a little bit. All right. So first thing we heard earlier this afternoon is that Gray Kessinger was going to the 10-day IL, and that with right shoulder discomfort, and Joel Kuhnel was being designated for assignment. So we'll see if Joel Kuhnel passes through waivers and can stay on the Astros, or if he's claimed by somebody else. Then I wrote that there were rumors swirling of other moves that didn't happen. Well, those rumors basically included Jose Abreu going to West Palm Beach. I tried to signal this. With a tweet that mentioned last year at the beginning of the season, Brantley went back down, and just stayed at West Palm Beach to try to work on his swing and to get ready to go. That was my way of saying, guys, Jose Abreu is going to West Palm Beach, and he's going to go work on his swing. And I had that from some reliable sources. I didn't hear it directly from sources. Let me be clear. Larry the GM does not have sources. I do have some friends that have sources. That's what they were telling me. And we were on Twitter Space for over 4 hours, and I've got it over here in my notebook. We had like Gray Kessinger's going down, and Gray Kessinger ended up going to the IL. We'll get to that in a minute. Or I guess I talked about it. So Gray Kessinger going to the IL. We thought Gray Kessinger was going to go down. Then, then we had heard that Cabbage was already going back to the Sugarland. So okay, well, those are the two moves, Kessinger and Cabbage. But then we heard later, like half an hour later, after I was like, all right, well, I guess the rumors I heard about didn't happen, that here we go. Jose Abreu is taking the assignment to West Palm Beach to go work on his swing to get his timing back. Guys, we said we had people thinking we were going to lose Singleton DFA. We were going to have Cabbage. We had Abreu to IL or DFA'd. We had Myers going to the IL. We had all kinds of things we talked about over and over, trying to figure out what are the Astros really doing here. And here we end up with one of the things we talked about, with Jose Abreu actually going to West Palm Beach to work on a swing. Something we did talk about in the Twitter space. All right, so let's double back to where we are here. The Astros lineup projected to hit. Oh, this is actually 116. Sorry, guys. Projected to hit 117. They're actually at 116. I wonder why that's not in there. I will go investigate that. Let me see if I refresh it. If we'll get the right table in there. Otherwise, Larry James got to fix. All right, I will fix it. Okay, that's 116. The Guardian. Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't get the right table. All right. Sorry, guys. Live YouTubing. Let's go show you the right table. There's the right table. Astros 116. Guardians 106. Copy. And we'll just do it right here on the old website. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the delay. My dog is trying to fill the time in for us all. All right, there you go. There's the right thing. No. Why did? Well, that's what I did before, silly Larry. All right. That's why we didn't do this part. Copy. Paste. This is great YouTubing. I'm sorry, guys. Copy. Paste. There you go. Now you got the right data in there. Okay. There you go. There's the article for Joey Loperfido. What we were saying is that current Guardians projected to hit 104. They're hitting 106 so far. What is wrong with the Astros offense? All right. We had this article. Clint, the scout, and I have discussed this on a couple different weekly Astros weekly recap episodes. Guys, the Astros have a runners in scoring position problem. Look at this. The Astros are overall 116 offense. That's fifth in the league. They are third with the bases empty. They're ninth with any runners on, and they're 17th with runners in scoring position. They drop almost 20 points in WRC plus from when that doesn't happen as a team. So where are the culprits? All right, well, guys, this is going to be uncomfortable for most of us because most of us love the first culprit on this list, and that is Jose Altuve, right? Jose Altuve has a delta of 201 from his 191. Jose Altuve is having the best year the best March and April he's ever had as an Astro in the dynasty era, and he's still batting negative 10 WRC plus from runners scoring position. Now, the truth is, these are small sample sizes. John Singleton has a similar problem. Again, I think Singleton's going to get a little more playing time now with Abreu gone. They're going to timeshare Singleton and Loperfido. So we shall see. Alvarez has a problem. He's a 140 hitter overall, and he's a 74 hitter with runners in scoring position. Yonder Diaz has it's I guess this is typical Yonder Diaz. Yonder Diaz has always been better overall than he's been with runners in scoring position. Clint and I are going to talk on Thursday night if we can get to it about lineup construction. And this is where I say maybe Yonder Diaz should not be in the middle of the lineup. Maybe he should either be batting seventh or second, and there you go. So there's the rest of the lineup. But those four, and the next one down is Pena, but he's been great overall. And then Abreu, who's just struggled basically everything. So we hope that Jose Abreu gets down to West Palm Beach and figures it out, and you can come back and be a productive hitter. Hasn't been that so far. All right. Like I said, we talked about that in Nationals Weekly Recap. Jump on that. That was 5 days ago, but as usual, Clint and I are ahead of the curve, so it'll be timely. Let's talk about the pitching staffs. All right, so the pitching here, you see that the starters here for the Astros, the FIPS are better than their ERAs. And guys, the Astros don't. Depending if you believe ERA or if you trust FIP more than ERA, which is what I do, the Astros are going to get a lot better overall pitching wise when we start having more starts by the guys that we have in there right now. So we get Verlander, Blanco, Valdez. We get Garcia back. We get Javier back. Guys, the starting rotation is going to heal itself. Yes, Hunter Brown is struggling. We're going to see tonight. I think Hunter Brown. I told you Hunter Brown's got a fairly good matchup tonight. So let's see if he can do okay against this Guardians offense, which is an okay offense, but like I said, it's like a 106. It's not. They're not as good as the Astros offense. So okay, here we go. The bullpen, you see the struggles of some of the guys in the bullpen. But overall, that bullpen for the Astros is maybe not as bad as you think it is, because the FIPS are way better than the ERAs. And we'll have another table to show that. But the Astros have starting pitchers that are doing better than their projected FIPS right now. Look at the Guardians bullpen, guys. This bullpen is crazy, and I'll show you here in a minute. You really want to jump on the starters. And we have one of the more favorable starters. Now, guys, we are facing the three starters on the Guardians that are struggling the most. So let's see how it goes. Carrasco's got a 5.04 FIP. McKenzie's got a 5.61 FIP. And Allen's got a 5.14 FIP. So we should be all right. Overall, this team has a 3.46 FIP. That's because this bullpen has been lights out. And they also had Shane Bieber in there for at least a couple, I think it's 3 starts, maybe. And they had Eli Morgan get him a start. And now those guys are on the injured list. So, yeah. The Astros pitching right on target, 419 versus 420, right where they expected to be. Now, here's what I'm saying. You better get these starters, because here's the ERA and the FIP of the starters. Here's the ERA and the FIP of the relievers. And you see the Astros. What you also see here is the Astros FIP is like more than half a run, more like 0.7 runs better than the ERA. So which one's right? Well, I tend to trust FIP more as a long-term indicator of future performance. All right, one other thing going on for the Astros, if you look at the ERA versus the FIP, understand the BABIPs of it all, okay? We have several pitchers that have absolutely horrible BABIPs, include Hunter Brown. I told you when we went through the Moneymaker data, 475 BABIP. That's not going to sustain, guys. Hunter Brown is way better than that. He's got an absolutely atrocious ERA of 9.68. His FIP is terrible at 5.48, but not near as bad as that ERA, right? So, but look at these other guys that you probably think have been terrible this year. Ryan Presley, 6.75 versus 2.5. Josh Hader, 7.59 versus 2.6. Sean Dubin, 8.1 versus 1.66. And Spencer Arguetti, 10.97 versus 3.81. Guys, those ERAs are not sustainable. Those BABIPs are not sustainable. These guys are going to get better. Unfortunately, there are other guys that the reverse is true. We've got some guys that get really low BABIPs. Blanco, Montero, especially in the stable. Verlander off to an early start. That their FIPS again are more realistic, more representative of where they're going to be. So if I tell people tell me, well, Rafael Montero is doing great. Yes, he is from an ERA standpoint, but no, his FIP is 4.37. That's not great. That's not terrible. That's basically why it's white league average. And so there's my assessment of the pitching staff. You can see this from a FIP standpoint. Who's the pitcher I'm most worried about in the Astros bullpen? And you got this on the Astros weekly recap. It's actually Brian Abreu. So both Abreu's, I mean, okay, Brian hasn't been near as bad as Jose, but both Abreu's haven't been pulling their weight. And I want to see Brian get his FIP down, and maybe he actually was pretty good in Mexico City. So we'll see what happens. All right, so here is the true premium data, and so this is the data that's different. I mean, most of the other data you're going to get on a lot of different other forums from Larry the GM from me. But here's the premium only data on this thing. And this will show you the Astros batters versus the left-handed pitcher. And you'll notice that Astros batters as an entire team much better against fastballs. They are against off-speed pitch and breaking pitches. Look at Joey Loperfido versus the lefty. He does not project to be very good against breaking or off-speed pitches at all. Now, what I've done, let me talk about this for a minute. Kessinger, Loperfido, and Cabbage. I've updated the data in the database. I'm not using Major League 2023 data because, guys, well, there's none for Loperfido. There's only an unrepresentative sample size for Cabbage and for Kessinger. So what I've done is actually updated using the AAA data, which is a much larger database for 23 and 24. I have an 80% rule related to AAA data. So that data I've applied a 0.8 factor to. That's what's in there. So if you look at Joey Loperfido, you see where he is. He's going to do league average versus fastball since it's against lefties now, and not so good. So if we have a left-handed pitcher coming up against the Astros that throws a lot of fastballs, then this team probably can handle it. We have right-handed pitchers is another story, or for Loperfido. So we have Carlos Carrasco today. Who's a right-handed pitcher. And that's why you see Loperfido in there. All right. So let's talk about the right-handed pitchers, because you probably are like, one of the things you'd like to hear from Larry the GM today is like, how will Loperfido do? All right. So Loperfido versus fastballs, slightly below league average. And again, this is because I've applied that 80% rule, right? So 320 would be a 400 in AAA. You say, well, he's going to do great. Well, so I've applied that 80% rule. So Loperfido against breaking pitches. Now, here's an interesting thing. Look at Loperfido versus right-handed breaking pitches. Now, the truth is, and we'll show this in the Loperfido article, he's great against sliders and not so good and pretty bad against curveballs. Now, I don't remember in that article if I broke it down lefty or righty, but there you go. That's Loperfido hitting well against right-handed breaking pitches against the slider. So if we've got a slider-heavy pitcher, right-handed, we're getting arguably the third best bat into the lineup, and that's when I've applied the 80% rule. So Loperfido is going to help against right-handed pitching. Well, no duh, Larry's left-handed bat, right? It's going to be really nice to have Loperfido in the 6 or 7 hole in this lineup as a left-handed bat, guys. And then you see again, he's actually not, relative to the rest of the lineup, he's going to be on the upper half of those against off-speed pitches versus right-handed pitching as well. So overall, expected WOBA 324 from Loperfido. Um, so hey, that could be really cool. I think I got that flipped. I think it's actually 306. I may have to go fix that for the table. Oh, more work for Larry to Jim fix. I tried, put a lot of work in for you guys today. But I believe for Loperfido, Kessinger, and Cabbage, the data is actually flipped here. In other words, I got my X Wobas and my Wobas mixed up. His X Woba is actually 306, not his Woba. All right. So there's your Astros pitching versus left-handed hitters. You see again how good the off-speed pitches have been, and they've been using more of them that they used last year. Here's the fastballs again. The Astros, like most pitchers, are getting their fastballs hit pretty well. There's the fastballs versus the righties. I mean, this is the data versus righties. You see the breaking pitches. One of the things that the Astros use so many breaking pitches is how effective they are. And they've been using more and more off-speed pitches. When I update this, you're going to see, like, for Ronel Blanco, that 3% is going way up. But there you go. Here's the Guardians pitching. One of the things to notice about the Guardians, how little the Guardians throw off-speed pitches. Allen almost doesn't throw them. Tristan doesn't throw them at all. Class doesn't throw them. Barlow doesn't throw them. Heron doesn't throw them. And Smith and BB and Smith, I guess they're rookies. They're not even in the database. So they are not throwing off-speed pitches hardly at all from the Guardians. Now, against righties, then Allen's throwing them, but then Lively's not. So there you go. That's a really interesting situation that could play out really good, because any team that's going to throw a lot of fastballs, good. Now, notice that these guys are throwing a ton of breaking pitches. So it will be interesting to watch that as it plays out tonight. But there you go, Carlos Carrasco. He actually is more like an Astros pitcher and throwing, a good mix of fastballs and breaking pitches. He throws a lot of off-speed pitches to left-handed, but not very good. These numbers are at the top of that table and indicate why they're not real good. All right. How the Guardians are batting. All right, you see the Guardians, just like the Astros, versus left-handed. Okay, this is actually the Guardians batting, so this is left-handed versus left-handed pitching. They are not that good at hitting breaking pitches either. They have one guy, Andres Jimenez, is good against the off-speed. But guys, you can see, we're going to expect to see a lot of Hunter Brown throwing his breaking pitches tonight against the lefties, which are a lot of lefties in the Guardians lineup. And then you see them versus right-handed pitching. So that's versus left-handed pitching. Versus right-handed pitching, because there's so many lefties in their lineup, they're a little better. But you still see that breaking and off speed is predominantly the way you go against this team. All right, so there is your premium data. What we do is we take these data points and this pitch distribution, and that's what gets fed into the Moneymaker database for the matchup. All right, let's talk about the exciting news. Loperfido's here. Loperfido's here. Loperfido's here. So in this article, I give you some tweets. I give you the MLB pipeline information. I talk about it a little bit. Talk about where Loperfido's been as a prospect for the Astros. Talk about, like, went to Duke University, 7th round pick, where the Fangraph says he is. Guys, what's interesting about this, we think about Loperfido as somewhat of a savior here, and maybe I've even portrayed it that way in this discussion. But Loperfido is still a prospect that most rating services, here you got Fangraphs having looks as a 40, and MLB pipeline having him at 45. I mean, that's kind of a disconnect with our expectations and where maybe he's performed in 2024 versus, where what he's doing now, or where he has been labeled as a prospect. What I did here is I wanted to show also this kind of feeds into that. 2024 Loperfido is, relative to 2023, he's been way up, way up, and you see that the Fangraphs MLB projection data basically puts Loperfido at a 98 WRC plus player. And if you go back to all the things I told you before, as we went through the projections, that's pretty close to that, three, whatever it was, 300-ish to 320 expected WOBA. That's right there at 98, guys. And so basically what we're expecting, or what the projection models are saying, is Loperfido is going to be very close to an average hitter. But guys, compared to what we've been getting at first base, that's a crazy upgrade, right? And I'll show it. Where is it? This is the performance we've been getting from, relative outfielders to Loperfido and first baseman, right? I mean, we've had McCormick and Singleton at 82. They're staying. I think Singleton's somewhat of an insurance policy against Loperfido being worse than we think he could be. But here, this is where the projections. So all these projections for these guys are better than Loperfido. This is okay. Why does it take so long for Loperfido to be here today, Larry? Well, this is kind of why. Like the modeling that they have, to the extent that you believe that the public available models are even close to what the internal team models are, I don't think there's a ton of surprises here, guys. I really don't. The fact that Loperfido was a 98 WRC play, that was up because about 2 days ago, that was 86. And I know that because we were talking about it in Twitter Space Room, 86, right? So they adjusted the models when they found out Loperfido was coming up. Well, wait a minute. That's a little worrisome, right? But, okay, 98 versus the other one here. But then where are their real statistics been? And one of the things we got to figure out is, like, what's wrong with McCormick? Now we can turn our attention away from Jose Abreu and start maybe turning our attention to Singleton and McCormick. Can we do something to get those guys going, or can we get Alex Bregman going? Right? The pet project doesn't have to be at Abreu because he's going to be in West Palm Beach working with the coaching staff there. Let's focus on getting the other guys in this lineup going. But while we're doing that, let's hope that Loperfido at least gives us this 98, because 98 out of a first baseman and a left fielder right now would be a significant upgrade, right? So there you go. That's a way to think about that. All right, what else did I show you here? So Loperfido, one of the other diseases that we talked about it when we went through the series guide, is that the offense has a problem with runners in scoring position. Well, Loperfido doesn't, guys. Loperfido's actually been really good with runners in scoring position. WOBA 381, expected WOBA 331. So, and those are the 80% rules. So this could be really good, right? Now, these are 24 data, and it's a little different than the hybrid data I was showing before, because he wasn't as good last year. For my projections right now, I'm really using 23-24 data, and that's why those numbers come down. But massive increase over Singleton and Abreu. Here's the pitch data, and this is what I was talking about earlier. So if you look at Loperfido, just again, red is good, blue is not so good. Loperfido 2024 pitch data. This is righties and lefties. Really, really, really strong fastball, slider, changeup. That's really exciting to have a changeup and a slider hitting pitcher like that, batter like that. Curveball, that's not too good, right? 216, that's not too good. And this is 24 data, right? If I exceeded this to 23 data, it'd be worse. Cutters, he's destroying cutters, and anything below that, guys, is too few pitches to really to even really consider. All right, so what is this? This is the table here, and here's the data. Like, okay, here's how we should be seeding Loperfido: 314 versus X Woba versus fastballs, and so you see the two low numbers, and you see the 305, 323, and the 280 versus the different pitch types. All right, so let's also talk about the defense. Loperfido is really an outfielder that has the capability to play first base. Now, the Astros may push him in the first base service, but I think the Astro fan base is expecting Loperfido to play first a lot more than I expect him to be playing, at least initially, at first. I think what we're going to get is a lot more singles, and I think Trey Cabbage is coming back. And I'm a little confused by all these different moves and why Trey Cabbage had to be like, I mean, I guess there had to be a move immediately because they were out and done with the Mexico City series. So they just sent Trey Cabbage over to Sugarland and just hang tight. We may bring you back because there wasn't really an option situation there. It was like he's the 27th man, now he's not. But so Trey Cabbage is actually a first baseman that can play the outfield. Loperfido is an outfielder that can play first base. I think we're going to see both of them. And I think we're going to keep John Singleton as an insurance policy for both of them until we're assured that both of them are going. Or that we get news from West Palm Beach that Abreu's ready to go, and then we're going to get Abreu back, and then we're going to have to figure out, like, are we keeping both Cabbage and Loperfido, or are we keeping Singleton? One of those three will have to go back down, or Singleton will have to be DFA'd at that point. All right, talk to you about that. So here's the when Cabbage came up for 2 days to go to Mexico City. I wrote this article, and a lot of what I just said, like he's really the outfielder of this group. He's really the first baseman of this group. Was a reason I thought he was coming, and I thought he was staying. So, like I mentioned, we were on a marathon Twitter space talking like what's going to happen. And you see, we listed down to these, and essentially what's happening is Cabbage went back. Kessinger went to the IL, and Abreu is going to West Palm Beach, which means they're going to add one. We said they have to have two moves. They're basically doing three. So I think we're getting Cabbage back, or we're going to get Hensley or somebody else from AAA up. Okay, so here, and I'm not going to try to share this too deeply with you in the video, guys. It's almost 20 minutes of game time, but spend some time with these tables. I mean, this is free access. Dog's trying to talk to you guys again. You can see where the Astros are from a playing time distribution. This is the fan graphs as of yesterday. I don't know if they've updated yet. What I've gone and done, I've done my own version of this based on what I think's really going to happen. So I have some tweaks to what Fangraphs has. The biggest tweak is, and the deltas here are the tweaks. I think we're going to get a heck of a lot more playing time out of Loperfido. I think Loperfido's here to stay, and I think he's going to start. He's going to play like a starter, except on those few left-handed fastball dominant pitcher. He's going to play a breaking or off-speed pitch dominant left-handed. He's not going to play. And then you're going to get a McCormick or Myers or some combination. There's going to be a platoon in the outfield with Loperfido with McCormick and Myers, and Loperfido is going to get the majority of that because he's going to be versus the righty. So I'm not sure exactly how that plays out for McCormick and Myers yet, but it's going to be interesting. I think McCormick's going to spend a lot of time in the left field. But you can see how I've got the distribution here. So I've got Loperfido getting up to 470. That may be a little high. I mean, I may go adjust this and you see a smaller number in this article in a day or two. when I get my eyes on him. I also think Cabbage is going to get a significant amount of playing time. I have Loperfido getting a lot of playing time at first base. That may not be right based on some things that they've said today. Remember, I wrote this yesterday, so maybe that's where I need to cut some and give some of those plate appearances to Cabbage. I'll do that if Cabbage actually is coming back. So we'll see about that. So I have Cabbage 118 plate appearances, Loperfido 472, which puts him up in the Chas McCormick territory, short of the other major assets. Now these are somebody was asking about this. These are plate appearances for the rest of the year. So yeah, I got Loperfido playing a heck of a lot. So there you go, folks. There's the Loperfido of it all. And there's the kind of maybe the verbiage that describes what I think is going to happen in the playing time. All right, any questions? Yes, Loperfido plays more outfield than first base. Well, my answer to that is basically if you look at this table, I have him slightly playing more. If you add those two numbers together, more outfield than first base, but it's too close, and I probably need to cut back on the first base zone. And I think they will give Trey Cabbage some playing time. I think they will. Right now it's hard to project that when he's not on the team right now. So, any other questions, guys? We'll take a minute to questions. While I'm waiting for those questions, again, guys, if you're watching this on Twitter or if you're watching on Twitter, go to YouTube. Please go to the Larry the GM YouTube channel and subscribe to the channel. I think 53 different people have accessed this video. I know not all of you are still here, but please like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you do that, you're going to help the channel grow. This is the kind of data the premium members get. The premium articles, the kind of data that they get. They get a video. Usually it's not as long-winded because they already know. And the money makers are usually pretty spicky with those guys too, because they've seen the data, right? So if this data that we talk through it interests you at all, then please become a premium member either on Patreon. I mean, I appreciate when people tell me thanks for what I do, but I really I mean, I'm not trying to sound like some OnlyFans person or whatever, but like, guys, I really appreciate when you guys support me financially to do what I do. I spent a lot of time here putting together work for you guys. Serious opening days. You can ask my wife. I'm working nonstop to get these things together to put out the data for you and today was really chaotic because I'm trying to follow what's going on with the team and the moves they're making and trying to adjust tables. And I already see some things I got to go fix. So, but guys, please subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the site, become a premium member, become a moneymaker member. Because guys, we're hot right now. And I think the realities are when the Astros get hot offensively, the picks are gonna be hot because I'm gonna know which I'm gonna have the picks in for the guys that should have the best night. All right, guys. So there you go. No other comments, questions. I appreciate you guys for joining, and thank you, and have a good night. And let's go Astros.